And we are live. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. The Sunday podcast edition of KnicksFanTV. CP the franchise here on the check-in with my guys, the Tradcaster, Alex Rotarios in here, JD Sports Talk in here. Sunday pod, and for the Sunday pod, we're going to do weekly Knicks recaps. We're going to go around the league, touch on some of the hot topics around the league, and then take your questions. We have a mailbag going around on Twitter. And then, obviously, the phone lines will always be up. 657-383-1509 is the number to call, or the KFTV Discord. I'm going to sit back and pretend that Giants game did not happen, but JD will touch on that later. But for now, JD, how you feeling, man? Preseason. Well, what's been your main takeaways of the week, man? Knicks 2-0 in the preseason. Blowout wins over the Pacers and the Wizards, respectively. What's been your main takeaways?
Well, happy to be here, and salute to everyone in the chat. Alex, CP, hoping we have a great show tonight. And the first two games have been a positive development for the Knicks. Starting off with us having the opportunity to see some of the new players with Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier. I think, one of the first initial takeaways off the court, or I guess on the court, but from a health standpoint, is Kemba playing the first two games. Mm-hmm. I think that's an encouraging sign, being that, a lot of times you see players coming off injury, they go to a new team and, they get immediate management. They miss preseason games, and then the season starts, and then you have the built-in excuse of, well, we haven't had enough time with training camp and preseason games to get some chemistry down. Kemba being able to, what it seems to, I haven't heard any reports of him missing practice. He's played the first two games. Mm-hmm. I think that's an encouraging sign for the team, being that Tom Thibodeau is a coach that, wants to build chemistry, and he is big on consistency. So that's the first thing. The second thing is RJ's defense. RJ's defense, to me, has been very, very good. I was encouraged by him taking on the assignment with Bradley Beal. I like that the Wizards played their starting five. And Bradley Beal played in that game, because going into it, that was a matchup that I was looking for. Mm-hmm. As one of the headlines in this season is, with Reggie Bullock and Peyton not here, is RJ that next man up to take those defensive assignments? And Bradley Beal is kind of like a short, shifty guard. So I wanted to see how RJ would do coming off screens, having to deal with a little bit of his elusiveness and speed. Mm-hmm. And I thought he responded very, very well. I'm encouraged by RJ's confidence. The way he's shooting the three, CP, it looks like, last year's, I mean, it's preseason, but just because it's preseason doesn't mean that, what you see in preseason won't translate to the regular season. Him being able to still shoot that three ball is a very good sign to me that last year wasn't a fluke, because I'm thinking teams that defend the Knicks, when you look at that starting five, Kemba has the respect of the NBA players. Mm-hmm. Fournier has the respect for shooting the three. Teams may cheat a little bit and let RJ shoot those perimeter threes so that he proves that he is now a consistent, legitimate shooter. And I think he is trending that way. So those are some of the, among many others, because it's been two blowouts. You could go around, you could talk about every player and talk about positives. But to me, I was looking at the starting five. I was looking at Kemba as the newcomer and RJ as that player that we're looking to take the next step, in this season.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. The battle with Beal last night was cool to see, because, like you said, he made him work. He was chasing him around those screens. He had a nice sequence. I believe it was in the second half of the game where Beal was trying to shake and bake and was trying to back him down, and RJ was not relenting one bit. And then Kemba came in, tried to bail him out, and picked up a dumb foul. But overall, I thought RJ's defense on Beal was solid, and it's going to be important. It's going to be very important for this team, his individual defense and his team defense. But, even with the rookie struggles, he was always a plus defender. I think even in his rookie year, you never really looked at him like, as a liability on the defensive end. And then last year, he took it up a notch. And I think this year, it'll also carry over. He's definitely looked like he's filling out. He's gotten bigger. We'll see again against some of the quicker wings how he fares there. But I think the defense was definitely on point. I thought his passing was on point, especially last night. Made a couple of nice cross court passes. I think he finished with about 3 dimes last night, so I thought his passing was definitely on display. So good playmaking there. And then, as you said, with the shot, it's going to continue to carry over from last year because I think the mechanics have improved. If you read that article from Vorkanoff in The Athletic when they said that it was Fizdale that tweaked RJ's shot in his rookie year, and then him and Drew Hanlon went back to the drawing board, went back to what they know, and then last year we saw the uptick. I think it'll be the same thing this year. I think the mechanics have improved. He's starting to step into his threes with a lot more rhythm, so I think he's going to be, and he's putting in the work, as Thibs said. He's in there every night. He's on the shooting machine. He's doing the shooting drills, and so I think that's definitely going to translate.
And real quick, as you mentioned that you always thought that he was a solid defender, I did too. The only difference in this season is, as you know, when you're under the microscope now and things start to get magnified, and now you have the stage. This is his opportunity for him to showcase that and kind of stamp that as a plus defender. And, we start to talk about, categorizing players. He's talking about becoming a two-way player. He's going to have the stage this season because I think, not only will the media focus on him on the defensive end, I think the fans and even mainstream, this is his opportunity. His going into it, it's a storyline. And we know already he is going to be that player that will be assigned to the top wing and shooting guards in the NBA. So to me, a lot of people talk about the disrespect and him not getting recognized in certain lists and all that. I actually think he has a very good opportunity this season to kind of, go into that next level and start to get some recognition for, the other parts of his game. So I'm looking forward to that.
A true story. Al, where are you going? Your thoughts of the week?
Thoughts of the week definitely got to be with, I'm watching the first units too, as well, because I want to see how Kemba and Evan how they fit into the starting rotation. But I'm looking at the bench, seeing if there's still continuity from last season, seeing if these guys are going to not only maintain but take it up another notch, because Emmanuel Quickly and Obi Toppin were rookies last season, and with another year under the belt, actually having an off season, actually having a training camp, actually having a summer league to go play, are these guys going to take that step forward? And we're going to see more of, I guess, the higher production out of them. And so far, they look to be trending up that way, right? We can talk about Obi Toppin, who I'm very impressed with. He looks more confident, more calm, more feels comfortable in his body when he's on the court. We saw him last night. We talked about him last night. CP, he had 13 points, filled up the stat sheet, had 8 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks. 13 points. He shot 2 for 6 from 3, 5 for 9 from the field within 28 minutes. He was all over the place in a good way, right? He was doing everything to help the team from a whole team aspect. He wasn't going to dominate by giving you a lot of points. He's not going to dominate. He's going to do what he needs to do by getting the boards. And he's done that so far for the first 2 games. And then going to Emmanuel Quickly, we see Emmanuel Quickly's playmaking take it up to another notch, right? He's not necessarily the facilitator, the whole playmaker, or just the floor general that you want out of they would get out of a Chris Paul. But right now, what he's doing, he's keeping that dribble alive. He's looking for guys on the perimeter. He's finding guys in the paint. He's getting those outlet passes, and he's still looking for his own. He's learning that balance. It's a difficult balance of knowing when to attack and when to distribute, but he's doing a really good job so far. And I think with having those two take another level up, you see D Rose last night was just smooth as butter, got a quiet 15, just really playing the same game that he was last season. You also have Alec Burks, even though he wasn't doing much last night, he was still playing solid defense. We know Burks, it can be streaky. He can be hot one night, he can be cold another night. But as long as he's giving you the defensive effort and not letting guys get past him, that's fine as well. And then you have Jericho Sims, who's, he's still raw, but he's showing a lot of good stuff as well. So maybe he can get some minutes here and there throughout the regular season. Once we get Noel and once we get Mitch back, we know those 2 guys are going to be our locked starting 5 to give us a rim protection. But so far, looking at that second unit, we should be confident, because last season this team was one of the top benches in the NBA amongst starting and bench units, right? I wrote a piece for KnicksFanTV.com saying when Derrick Rose handed over the keys to Kemba Walker being the starting point guard. I talked about the plus 17.8 differential for them as a bench unit. and that was calculated, I think, out of 171 starting lineups that had 100 minutes played together. And with that, they rank between 35 to 40 in the NBA. So, and that's just a bench unit. That's amongst other starting units. So if you can get that, if that was last year's production and they can just add on to that, this bench unit is going to be very potent. We're not going to be behind because the starting unit looks really good. They look like they look like they're gelled together. And we discussed this last night. They're not even fully gelled together. But if we don't have to be playing from behind like we had with last year, whether it was Alfred Payne at starting point guard, and even Reggie Bullock, because Reggie couldn't put on the floor like Evan Fournier and do the playmaking. We're going to be in games from the get-go, and then the second unit can come in and just add on top of that and take advantage of other bench units. I'm pretty high about this team, man. I'm pretty high. I'm not with JD yet over the 50.
Yeah, Al was ready to jump out. Al was ready to jump last night, JD. I don't know if you were listening. Al was ready, man. He was ready to jump out the window, man.
I heard him a few times. He was close. But I mean, I listened to Alex, and I watched the show last night. And I watched the first show against the Pacers with Ash and CK. And I listened to you guys, and to me, it seems like you guys are just scared. You don't want to. It's like you're making all these great points, and I'm like, so. CP, you're at 46. I think Alex yesterday said he went up to 48. Was it 48? You said.
Yeah, I'm still going 48.
Up to
He's at 48.
I'm
He's
like,
at
it's
48.
just too. I mean, CP, I said I won't ask you, so I'm not going to ask you tonight. You have 10 days. I will ask you on October 20th on the pregame show. You'll have your opportunity to change your prediction. And that's why when I was talking about my points, one of my, I talked about Kemba because I'm looking at it from a 50 burger standpoint. In order for us to make that happen, Kemba, I think, has to be healthy. But, to Alex's point, that's another key point in order for them to get to that 48 or 50 range is the bench. And when you look at the bench, you talk about Derrick Rose, I think you can pretty much certainly expect double-digit points per game from him.
Yeah.
I think you can pretty much expect that from Quickly if he's getting the minutes he's going to get. And then Burks. That's three guys that on any given night not only can give you double-digit points, but any of those three can explode above double digits to the high teens to 20 points on any given night, and they're dangerous, man. I mean, this team, Noel is not playing, and Sims is coming up, and he's playing well. Like when you look at the depth of this team for an 82-game season, I just don't see how this team, if healthy, doesn't push for that 50-win team. So I'm hoping you guys could change up a little bit here soon.
Hey, look. All right, look. I'm staying at 46, man. I'm staying at 46. I gotta keep it a little bit conservative, man. That's just me. I just gotta hedge my bets a little bit, JD. I can't jump all the way. So I'm going 46. It's not too far from 50. But it ain't too far from 40 either. You just never know, man. Chemistry has to play a factor. You got a couple new faces in here. You have we got to see how the defense overall fares over an 82-game season. Injuries, the health is a concern. It's a concern. We just saw last night D-Rose tweaked his ankle a little bit. Didn't look too serious. But it was still a moment where you just you held your breath for a hot second. So I just got to see how all that pans out. So I'm going with 46. What do you guys think in the chat? Throw your numbers in the chat. Let's see where you guys are at. I'm seeing about the same. Chuck texted me today. I think he's around 46, 48 mark. So I think I'm in the ballpark, man.
It's cool. I think we still got that little bit of hesitancy from the fans. You know how it is. CP is like we can't believe it. We're gonna. It's 2 years in a row we're gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is this 2 years in a row we're gonna be a 4 seed? Is this 2 years? You know what I mean? Like, is this really changing?
It's too much positive, man. It's too much positive, JD. I just gotta knock us down a peg. It's just a little bit, man. It's too much. There's too much good things going on with this team right now, bro.
And it's really the injuries, man. It's really the injuries because we're talking about Kemba, we're talking about D Rose, we're talking about Mitch, we're talking about Nerlens Noel. We're talking about guys who are known to get injured. So we have to have a really good season.
That's right.
These guys stay healthy. Like and you keep saying it, JD. You keep pointing it onto health. Like you keep emphasizing the health,
right.
and that's really the thing. Like and with the talent in the East too. Like I'm trying to put those two things together. Those two things are going to collide.
Yeah,
and so I got to stick with 48. I'm ready to jump out the window, though. I'm ready. Well, let me tell you something. I'm ready to jump out the window. I will gladly jump out the window. Look, if this team gets over 50, I'll be outside, like just diving head first, man.
Ready to
I'll tell you
go.
that right now.
Ready to go, man.
I was very, very impressed with Jericho Sims, man. Let me tell you, I really was impressed. He didn't do anything crazy in terms of statistics, but he's grabbing double-digit rebounds. I mean, we're talking about, and I get it. And once you're in the NBA, it's like nobody's looking at, draft selection and what pick you were drafted at. But I do put stock into that, at least for a rookie season. So in other words, him being a rookie, being able to continue to build off his summer league, because first it was in summer league, we were impressed. Now you're in preseason games. I know it's preseason, but it's not like, you're in preseason playing against third stringers. Like you're playing against your first and second team players of these teams. You saw last game, he was matched up against Harrell. Sabonis played the first game. So now the competition and level of caliber of players goes up exponentially from summer league. And for him to still show the ability to still remain physical, to still be an athletic force in the paint, right? And you see when he sets those screens, man, Kemba is happy. A lot of these guards have so much spacing because he reminds me a lot of Dwight Howard in terms of his physique. And being able to set and being able to set those things. Now, I know the last game he had some technique stuff, but that's still a positive to me, CP, because when Thibs is screaming at him off a timeout, and one of the timeouts Thibs had his hands up, that's just technique work, which means that's something that's going to improve. So to me, yes, that's when he's raw. You expect that, but you see his natural ability there. You see, and you're able to validate the Knicks have something there at center. And when you foresee the future, they have some decisions to make in the future with Mitch. And I think that's why all this stuff, I think is a positive for Mitch too, because it should motivate Mitchell Robinson to want to play well. And in the front office, you talk about building assets. You talk about building a solid foundation, a good situation. Every time some of these players play well, all that is doing, Kevin Knox, all it is doing is when you are involved in a potential big trade, you have a lot of pieces that you can throw around and kind of negotiate.
Assets.
So it can't be a bad thing for
Assets.
the Knicks. I don't want to trade these guys. I'm just saying. But in all phases, from a player standpoint and from a front office standpoint, seeing some of these young players play well. Grimes comes in and immediately makes a three.
Two threes.
I know that might seem minute from to some players because it's garbage time to some fans, but that's big, man. These players the Knicks drafted early on seem to show an ability that when they are given an opportunity, they're going to be ready to contribute immediately. And that's a positive for this culture.
It's the culture. The culture's been on display. Player development. It all ties into it. And I think, as you mentioned with the young players, they have to be assets to this team, whether it's helping us win or helping us get better players. You know what I'm saying? So either way, it's a benefit to this team. They have to turn into assets. And I think part of that is having the proper veterans, having Derrick Rose, having Taj in there, being coaches on the floor. And then, just having that commitment to excellence. They brought in quality locker room guys, gym rats, guys that are there working. You heard RJ in some of the press conferences talking about, from top to bottom, there's people in this organization that are there putting in the work, putting in late nights, whether it's Thibs, the video coordinators, or even RJ himself. So I think that's overall a good sign. My observations for this week, obviously, you're looking at Kemba and Fournier, the two newest additions, and the impact that they're going to have on this offense. Again, preseason very early, but clearly from the spacing, clearly from what they bring from shot creating and playmaking, it's going to open things up on this offense. I'm going to play a quote from Thibs in terms of how he felt about the increase in three-point shooting. But, it's clear as day in these first two games that, the additions of these two guys, they're automatically going to raise their three-point attempts because they're going to create, they're going to play make, and we're going to get more quality threes because they're also pushing the tempo. And I had the Court Vision episode with Tommy D when we talked about, Kemba and Fournier and just being able to get out there and transition. And you saw that in the first 2 games. And they're getting those threes out in transition as well. So now you're not only going to have Julius being able to push, you have RJ off the rebound going to be able to push, Kemba, Fournier as well. So that's 4 guys in your lineup, in the starting lineup, that'll be able to do that. Obviously, the bench, as we talked about, is going to be potent as well. So just looking at the 2 pieces in the starting lineup was my takeaway there. And then next, I'm going to the young players because I think, yes, the success of this team is going to be, largely on Julius's shoulders, Kemba, D-Rose. We know that, and Fournier. We know the vets are going to have to play their part. But for us to take it up a notch, remember, this team is pretty much set. The cap is locked in, and this is what we're going with unless we're making trades down the road. So the development and the improvement of our young players is going to be crucial to determining the ultimate outcome of this team. So that starts with RJ. It's Mitch when he gets back on the court. We haven't seen Mitch yet, but RJ so far so good. We're talking about quickly the things that he's trying to learn, how he's trying to evolve as a point guard. I think that's been a good sign. Obviously, when McBride and Grimes get their turn. But my primary focus this week, thumbs up this week, is for Obi. Because Obi is really, even last year preseason, that game against Detroit, you saw the flashes, but obviously he couldn't put it all together over the course of the year. But I think what we saw in the summer league moving into now, it's slowing down for him. You could see that the game is slowing down for him, and just the confidence. The confidence that he's showing out there is on full display. So I think Obi's going to be a big piece of why that bench unit is going to be even more potent this regular season, because last night another 8 rebounds for him in the starting rotation. Played good defense. Obi was solid defensively for us. Splashed a couple of threes, and Fournier found him for the backdoor alley-oop, which was popping too. So Obi's definitely getting some good run in these first 2 games. Let me play the Thibs soundbite on the threes, and then Obi. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Sunday podcast, CP, Alex Rotaros, JD Sports Talk in the building. We'll take your phone calls as well, 657-383-1509. All right, let me get to Thibs on the 3-point shooting.
Made threes tonight. Franchise record's 20. Obviously, that 24 doesn't count in the preseason. But your thoughts on that? I know you were looking for not just the number, but the quality.
Yeah, both. And it was one of the things that, we've worked hard at for the last 2 years and over the summer, and also the guys that we've brought in. They're, very efficient at shooting them, so their shot profile is right. And then making the right reads, that's probably the most important thing, the ability to go off the dribble, attack the rim, and make the proper rim read. Hit the open man, and guys make the extra pass. We're going to have good rhythm threes. We also want to push the ball more. So that's something that we continue to work on. But overall, I thought we had some really good things. Obviously, we're still nowhere near a 48-minute team, and that's what we have to stride towards. And the fourth quarter, we got bogged down a little bit, so we can improve in that area as well. But overall, a lot of guys stepped in. I thought Obi played really well. I thought Kevin came in and gave us really good minutes. So that was good to see. Balance. We want to be strong on both sides of the ball.
And last one for you, but you mentioned Obi. Just your thoughts on the extended minutes that he got, his production.
Really good. He's worked extremely hard. And not just the offensive plays. I thought he had some really good defensive plays. And that's where we talked about his offensive improvement, which it has improved, but the defensive end, he's gotten better. And that's important for us. And when he's on the floor, the team functions well. He moves the ball side to side probably as well as anyone on our team.
All right, JD. So a lot of high praise for Obi after last night's performance, man. What'd you think about Thibs' reactions?
Well, first, I was smiling and laughing a little bit because I like how they've played very well in preseason, pretty much 2 blowouts. And Thibs says we're nowhere near a 48-minute team yet.
Yeah, facts.
And I think you've seen some of that, and the thing about Thibs is not just, media rhetoric. You see it in the second quarter of a preseason game. He's calling a timeout. He's cursing players out. So, but in regards to Obi, listen, I think, again, Thibs is not someone that just gives this much praise on a player, not only saying positive things about Obi's play, but identifying and pointing out the defensive side of the basketball court. In the past, we haven't heard those things from Thibs. In fact, we've heard a lot of Thibs saying that that's where he needs to improve. So Thibs saying that tells you that, aside from us on the outside evaluating it on TV, he's done it in practice and he's doing it. He's showing it to the coaching staff, because Thibs is saying that, he's made a lot of progress. And when he's on the court, the team is functioning well. He talked about his passing. That one play that a lot of people, were showing on Twitter where you saw like 8-9 passes. It went all over the court. Obi was the one that started, that play. And his confidence, I think, as you pointed out, is the biggest thing, because he's still athletic. He still, jumps out at you on TV, but he's slightly more controlled.
Yeah.
Which means
he's under control.
That the game is starting to slow down for him. And now he's starting to understand basketball. And for the people saying that, what does that mean? What it means is you're starting to understand where you need to be on the court.
Right.
What's your assignment? What's your rotation? Where the pass should go first? Where you should go after you pass the ball? What type of screens you should set? When you should set it? Like, all these things are starting to fall into place for him. Thibs had mentioned, like, I understand he's a rookie, and I understand, you guys are saying he's 24, so I guess he should be an all-star already, but he's still a rookie. It's the same thing. You go to a job. It don't matter how old are you. You could be 40 years old going to a new job. You still have to adapt to that company's, protocols and environment. So him being an older rookie, yes, the expectations are higher, but that doesn't mean that the process of being a rookie, being a sophomore, going into your third year, doesn't mean that changes. You still have to go through it, and it's still an adjustment and transitional period. So a lot of encouraging things from Obi, and I was happy to see him respond yesterday as a starter. He started a little bit slowly, but you started to see the rhythm come as the game started to go along. So I'm hoping that he finishes the preseason strong and he continues. Again, we keep the same thing, increasing his value not only as a player but as an asset.
But as an asset, yeah, good points. And he knows, just like everybody else, just like Kev knows, the key to his length and minutes he's got to play defense. And that'll be the key if we ever see that Obi Julius combo, if we ever need it. Not saying we need it, because obviously we have a lot of talent at the 5 right now, a lot of defensive talent at the 5 right now. But if we ever needed to go to that, the way to it is going to be him being able to defend, protect the rim, handle his rotations properly, and I think he's on the right track. So that's good in that regard. Al, Thibs also mentioned with the threes. He said that we've been working on it for the past 2 years in terms of just getting the proper personnel. He mentioned, having the guys that are efficient 3-point shooters, and also the fact that they're able to drive and kick, making the proper rim read. And I think having Kemba, Fournier, Rose, Quickly, Burks, RJ, Julius, that's going to be a big factor for us, man. It's going to be a big plus for us.
Absolutely. And you're seeing them. I'm trying to get the number. I think it was what was it? It was 54 attempts that
52 yesterday, 37 against the Pacers.
Yeah, so you definitely see that the uptick in 3-point shots there's an uptick in the 3-point shot attempts, and it's only going to be better to create that spacing for Mitch, for Nerlens, for Julius, for RJ, for Obi, right? And I think this is Thibodeau adapting to needing the 3-point. We didn't have that. We were a good 3-point percentage-wise team, but we didn't take high volume at all last season. It's very. Well, I think we were down. We were close to the basement. Yeah, we were close in the basement in how many 3-point shots we were attempting. But you need that, man, because that's how you're going to play with pace. That's how you're going to space the floor. So that's something. That's why you bring these guys in, and you just see it. You see how these guys are able to attack go to the cup. They're able to get their mid range. They're able to shoot the three, all because everyone can now shoot the ball from deep, excluding the centers, but everyone can shoot the ball from deep. And that just creates that space that we see throughout all of the NBA. We're truly getting to see a modern NBA offense on the New York Knicks.
Good to see, man. Definitely good to see. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Sunday pod in here. CP, Alex, JD in the building. We're going to get to the calls in a second. Let me shout out the super chats that have come in. Richard David sent a super chat. He says, CP, eat that 50 burger. Amid Belford sends a $20 super chat. He says, KP, don't worry. Thibs got this team already booked for the 50-piece. Now he could take a part-time gig and help Joe Judge coach the Giants, LOL, and turn their season around. Oh, I wasn't trying to get on them boys right now, man. Later, man. We'll talk Giants later, man. I'm still recovering, man, because I'm hurt. I'm down bad from that game, man. But we'll get to that later. On to good things. And you never thought that you would be saying this at some point, that, Knicks basketball was the only thing that you're looking forward to in terms of New York sports.
Jeez.
What a time to be living.
What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive, man. It ain't the Yankees, it ain't the Mets, the Jets, the Giants. It is Knicks basketball that we're looking forward to. So, very interesting indeed. All right, let's get to the phones. Sheik, Hudson Valley. Sheik, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
How you feeling, bro?
Alaikum. Good. Yeah, I just wanted to say, you guys are putting on a good show.
Appreciate
as
it.
usual. I want to make sure you guys get the likes and more subscribe. You deserve it at KFTV. Putting on a good show, man, and the season coming up where everyone's expecting every win, we're going to be, even the losses, we're going to be watching you guys. So just wanted to shout you guys
Appreciate
out real
it, bro.
quick. No doubt. The Wizards, they actually look really good on paper. I just wanted to put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
They got Kuzma. I mean, the starting five at least. Their bench is really bad, but the starting five looks good. They got Dinwiddie, Beal, Kuzma. Gafford was looking good out there.
Mm-hmm.
Caldwell Pope, he's streaky, but, he can play well. His defense is pretty good. So that team, starting five, looks pretty good on paper. I think the Knicks did a good job, to be honest with you. No Randall. And I'm going to get to Randall in a second. But, yeah, the Knicks are looking good. The three-point barrage is, I'm liking it. I like how Thibs is implementing the three-point barrage here.
Mm-hmm.
Burks, my man Birkenbag. He needs to step it up a little bit, but he's just I guess he's just getting his feet wet a little bit with the new bench. I mean, with the new team and everything. But Birkenbag, I think he's gonna get back to it. CP, that's our guy.
That's our guy, man.
For the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But I have confidence in him. He'll get back into it. But again, back to Randall not playing. Randall's a great player. I love him. But, when you look at it, without Randall, the team is just spreading the ball. I'm not saying he slows down the offense.
Yeah.
But you could tell the first game when they played with the Pacers, Randall was, there was some points where you could tell, he wanted to hold the ball. And I don't know if you noticed it, but then he was like, oh, no, shit, let me pass it again. So it's like, I noticed that a little bit of, so we just want Randall to really be a team player this year, meaning that, he might not score all the points he did last year. He might not get all the rebounds like he did last year.
Yeah.
But I think he can still be a great asset, but he just has to stop thinking about, scoring too much at this point. Because right now we got a lot of good.
Got to trust the depth.
In terms of when.
Definitely got to trust the depth, man, and appreciate the call. You look, Randall was a tremendous playmaker for us last year, man. Tremendous. You look at his assist to usage ratio last year, he was one of the best in the league, one of the best big men in the league in terms of passing. But to Sheik's point, fellas, that's going to be part of the adjustment. Part of the chemistry is just trusting Kemba, trusting Fournier more, because they too are going to be able to make plays and score for themselves. So it's not Bullock and Peyton. So Julius's adjustment is going to be a key factor in determining how successful this team is going to be as well.
Absolutely. And, we had, like we talked about last night, CP, like in Bondi's article, you see Evan Fournier pointing out that he's still trying to get in rhythm with Randall. Randall's trying to get in rhythm with him, and that's not just for them two. It's throughout the entire team. The starting unit has two major new pieces at the point guard and at the wing. So they have to get accustomed to how RJ and how Julius plays. And once Mitch gets back, and Mitch hasn't played since last season when we played against the Wizards, so it's a lot of new faces for them to get used to, and it's a new play style that Randall and RJ have to get used to as well, because now they're getting playmaking. They're getting the ball swung to them. They're gonna have to, new two-man game, whether it's Randall and Fournier. You're gonna see a two-man game probably with RJ and Kemba. These guys got to get used to it and get the mismatches and figure out where each other's spacing is on the floor, where they're going to be on the floor at all times, what side of the floor. So it's going to be a lot for them to get together. But the good thing is that through preseason, in these blowouts, it looks like they've taken it up another level, right? Looks like they're getting close to it. So I don't know how far it is. I'm like, it'll be interesting to see what mid-season form for these guys will look like, because then they'll be in rhythm. You'll see that the spacing is just going to come more fluid. And if the ball is whipping around like that last night and even the game prior, it's going to be really intriguing to see what mid-season form looks like.
I mean, with Randall, I'm not concerned at all about, the how he's going to mesh with, with the new players and, with the improved roster. Being that, some of those new players with Kemba and Fournier are players that take shots. They're going to need shots to contribute offensively. And, obviously one of the first questions is, how does that contribute to Randall's offensive production? And, I think he's going to have a lot of games like he had against the Pacers, where everything's rolling, and then you look up on the box and you're like, how did he get 20 points? I didn't see that. I didn't see those 20. It was a quiet 20-9. And so, when you look at how that game transpired, you saw it was within the offense. And I think, that's what Knicks fans are going to want to see is, we don't really care about the stats, as long as, what they produce is within the offense. And that is the objective this season because of the players you got. And with Kemba, a lot of these point guards around the NBA, they're like little alphas, right? They're scoring guards and they're volume players. But the thing with Kemba, although he's a volume scoring point guard, he's also an unselfish player. And so I'm not concerned about him getting, his shots, him, developing chemistry with the players. I think it'll flow. And with Randall, to be honest, if you have to ask me what's my biggest, quote unquote concern for Randall this season, is just the mental aspect of the game. Being that he had that rough playoffs with the Hawks. What I personally want to see is, him having another productive season. But for me, with Randall, I'm just waiting for the playoffs.
Wait for the playoffs.
And see. That's all. I'm not gonna put too much stock into these. He's gonna have ups and downs. I know some fans want him to even have more, to increase his offensive statistics. I personally don't think that's going to happen, but that doesn't mean he's going to have a bad season. I think he could, just like RJ, he could have a slight downtick in some of his stats and have a better season than last year.
Right.
Just because we have so many players, so many options now, you're gonna have games like this where the Knicks are showing you potential to have some blowout games, and you're gonna have games where he has 16 points and he just doesn't play because of blowout.
It's gonna be spread around, man. It's definitely gonna be spread around. I agree with you on that. Salute to the rhyme animal Chuck D. Everybody throw hashtag PE in the chat. Sends a super chat. He says Thibs is perfect for New York, perfect for the mentality and prepping this team for the microwave square garden. Physically, last year the team came in tip-top shape. This year, and he says that, in my opinion, prevents the injuries. He's going 45-48 with a deep playoff run. So shout out to Chuck. So yeah, me and Chuck on the same page, man. 45-48 is where he's at. You know what I'm saying? Back to the phones. So let's get some more people in here. Icewater's up next. Icewater, what's good?
Hey, CP, what's going on?
How you feeling, man?
Everybody? All right. I just want to make it clear. I'm the first one that said Knicks going to win 50 games.
Ooh, okay. All right.
couple of shows. But sometime last month when we talked about it, I said Knicks. My expectation was Knicks win 50 games and get to the Eastern Finals. And after these last two games, it's just proven everything that I thought that this team would be. The bench is awesome, and you know the fact that Obi is a much improved player. I think makes the Knicks even stronger. The fact that you have somebody backing up Julius, you know, to come in and average 11, 12 points a game, I think it's just going to make the Knicks that much more potent. You know, Fournier looks good. Kemba looks really good. The team just looks really good. It is preseason, but it looks like, even though it is preseason, it looks like the other teams are playing hard too. It's not like you know everybody's just taking.
Well, you know the Knicks are playing hard. Tibbs is not playing around. He's trying to get ready for October 20th, man. Tibbs is not playing around, so that you could count on.
Right. And I mean, you even had a Kevin Knox sighting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is, but the cohesiveness, though, the way it doesn't look like Fournier and Kemba Walker are new.
Right.
It looks like they've, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I could just imagine what the team is going to look like, after the All-Star break. I don't want to go out on a limb and say 55 wins. I don't want to go out like that, but
he's going 50 burger, but he's like 55. Whoa. Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call. He said he didn't want to go all the way up to 55, JD. He said, I'm gonna give you the 50 and just leave it at that.
Might as well. He's saying Eastern Conference Finals. So.
Yeah, he did. It was Ice Water that said Eastern Conference Finals, so he might as well go all the way out, Ice Water. He's trying to hang on to the ledge a little bit. One hand, a couple fingers, Go ahead and drop, man. Go ahead and drop. All right, next up we got Will from LI. Will, what's going on, Will?
Hey, what's going on, CP, JD, Alex? How you guys doing?
Good, man. What's going on?
Not much. First off, shout out to that amazing track put out by J Boogie. That thing was straight fire.
Podcast track.
J Boogie, if you listening, bro, that was so dope. Really, I listened to that like at least 5 times. It's so great. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe, because CP, you just out here putting out that content, man.
It's facts. Sunday pod, man. We got to talk about it.
Absolutely. The thing that the first caller say, I disagree. I felt like we felt Randall's absence. Like, I feel like when you look at the scores for the last couple of games, it's been pretty even. So I'm not really worried about us scoring. I'm more worried about the defense, and I trust Randall's defense way more than Obi's at the moment. And I feel like Obi plays better with Rose anyway in that second unit. So, if Obi does make that step up, that's great. But I really like him in right where he is. But either way, JD, I'm officially coming over. We're going to go ahead and get this 50 burger because
Let's
go. Because this is what I say. It's like, this is sustainable. Like, when you look at the minutes, nobody's really asked to do so much. Everybody just got to do what they normally do. If somebody's slacking, either Fournier can hit a 30-pointer. You already know that RJ can get that. Julius, Kemba, I just feel like it's sustainable. Knock on wood, no injuries. But if we're sustainable, I don't think that we're good. I think we should be good. The only thing I'm worried about is the 5. Is I don't want to go up against Joel Embiid and Taj Gibson is the one that has to beat at the 5 or something like that. So I really need to see what Mitch is looking like when he comes back. But either way, that was basically it. I will be at the game on Wednesday. To see Cade and see what he's doing, and I will be at the home opener. So either way, I'll see you guys and keep up the great content, man. Take care.
No doubt, bro. Call in on Wednesday. Give us a report, man. Let us know what you think in person, bro. Appreciate the call, Will.
Absolutely.
Let's hear from Daniel from Jersey. Daniel, what's going on?
Okay, wow.
What's good, my dude? How you feeling? Been a minute.
It's been so long, bro. It's been so long. Oh, dude, it's like crack. I need another game. Right now. I haven't seen that many threes go inside the rim since the 12-13 Knicks tape season. Oh my God.
That's a fact, yo. That is a fact, man. That is a fact.
this team gives me major Knicks tape vibes, and not because they're all old and on the way out. No, they can hit that three, CP. They can hit that three.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking at them like 95% of the time. 4 out of the 5 guys is guaranteed to hit over 37% this season. I actually think they can rank among the top 3 in 3-point percentage this season.
Yeah.
Not if they shoot that many though, but they could get in the top 3 in 3-pointers made. If they really want to be shooting 53s a game, I'm all for that. Go ahead, like lock teams up to 105 points or less every night, and then like blow them out by scoring 125 on 23s made. But no, I do get a lot of Knicks tape vibes from this, and that team was really revolutionary. They were kind of like the Warriors before the Warriors. Now, never with like the success or anything, but just with like how many threes a game they took with Melo and JR. Yeah, with Woodson.
Mm-hmm.
And Shump was getting it in. Hell, like even before the Knicks were decent 3-point shooting team. Like I remember, like when I first started watching, like I remember Tony Douglas went off for 10 threes one game. I was like, yo, what the hell? Like he was rocking the green sneakers. Like, it was something that I hadn't seen in years. Like it's like this inner kid in me is just suddenly coming back, and it's been slowly unlocked since the beginning of last year. It's like,
it's gonna be a great year,
man. It's like crack, man. It's like crack.
He said it's like crack. Appreciate the call. Look, it's gonna be an exciting year, man. There's no way around it. You know, this team is deep. You gotta respect them. It's gonna be spread around in that box score every night. Different guys can get you in double figures. You're gonna have at least eight guys that can get you quality double-digit points on any night. So it's gonna be a good run, man. Definitely looking forward to it and seeing how we fare. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Sunday night pod, CP, JD, Alex Ratarsa, Stratocaster in the building. Always remember, people, that KnicksFanTV is presented by Manscaped, the #1 men's grooming tool below the waist. Fellas, you know we are in the middle of the fall season. The leaves are falling, the pumpkins are out, and my guys at Manscaped want to make sure that you don't carve up your pumpkins in the wrong way, if you know what I'm saying. So that's why you got to go out and get that Lawnmower 4.0, the Ferrari of ball trimmers, fellas. Comes with a nice aerodynamic design, skin-safe custom ceramic blade technology, so you cut down on those nicks. Waterproof. So, you know, you can do it in the shower. Comes with the LED spotlight, man. So, you know, you can do it in the dark, whatever you're into. But also, you make sure you don't miss a spot with this LED spotlight. So, really cool features there. And as usual, man, they take care of us. Go to manscaped.com and enter promo code KFTV to get 20% off plus free shipping. It's a great deal. They also have a lot of gift packages for you. So, a lot of great products there at manscaped.com. #1 men's grooming tool below the waist. And no testimonials. Remember, no testimonials. Just go out and get it. I trust that you'll enjoy it, but no testimonials, man. All right, fellas, how we looking here? All right. Looking good so far. 48 minutes in. So let's take another call, and then we'll go around the league, and then we'll finish up with calls, man. So let's hear from Cynthia from Long Island. Cynthia, what's going on?
Hey guys, how are you? Salute, 3 capital S's.
Cynthia, what's going on?
That's a nice little tribute to J Boogie.
Yeah, of course.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice. But salute Alex, salute JD, salute CP. Miss you guys. But listen, I agree with what, everybody's saying the team is looking great.
Mm-hmm.
My worry and my question, and Alex touched upon it last night a bit, is, when we're asking about, okay, which player is going to most improve, who's got the most to prove, I'm turning the tables and saying I'm looking at Thibs. Because I feel like Thibs was outcoached, by what's his name, the
Nate McMillan.
Coach.
Nate McMillan.
Yeah, I feel that he was outcoached by him. Mm-hmm. And, Alex, you mentioned a little bit, how much is he going to trust the young guys to turn them in and turn out, but also strategic-wise. Mm-hmm. Can Thibs, what did he take? What's his takeaways, and what is he going to do to try to outcoach the other coaches? And what do you guys have to say? And
Mm-hmm.
love you all, guys. And I'll hang up and listen.
Appreciate all the support, Cynthia. Never misses a show.
You're welcome.
Always appreciate it. Cynthia always holding us down, man. Always holding us down. So I think, look, with the Hawks series, I think obviously a lot of people were looking for those adjustments, in particular going small against Capella, trying to make him work. Noel was a non-factor, and Capella really didn't have to move away from playing that shadow position and just following Julius Randle all over the place. We got mauled on the boards, as we expected going into that series. We knew we were going to lose the rebound battle to him, but we were looking for Thibs to make those adjustments. We heard from Thibs during media day why he didn't go with Julius and Obi more. Rim protection. Didn't like it defensively, and that's going to be the key, again, to seeing those two play together. But I also think, fellas, I think, again, yes, people look at what Ty Lue did against Utah, exposing Gobert and going Batum at the 5. I also think from a personnel standpoint, the Hawks were just better. And when you look down that Knick bench, there was nobody that, Thibs could have really went to that you were going to say, all right, this guy is really going to help us turn the tides in the series. I didn't see that, man. Even with the healthy Mitch, even if you went, try to go Obi Mobile, I think the Hawks were just overall, top to bottom, a better team, a hotter team. And yes, McMillan coached it very well, executed the game plan perfectly. But we didn't have the horses. And so I thought that was, that's just my opinion on how that series turned out.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. If we had this team that we have now, and granted, we haven't seen the regular season yet, but the way they've been playing, if we had this team for the playoffs last year and we lost, I think there would be more of a discussion whether it was Tom Thibodeau getting out-coached, because we have the depth and we have the talent now. But if we had Mitch, I think it's a 7-game series, because I think he's better suited to take on Capella. I think Nerlens Noel was playing with an injury after the first game. Julius Randle, you already mentioned it, CP, that he was double teamed. He was our only offense throughout most of the season. Sure, we had the bench unit that could help. He had Quickly, Burks, Rose, all those guys that could get hot in the night. And we had Derrick Rose carrying us through this playoff series. But we were just outclassed. They had so much talent. I mean, besides Trae Young, they have Hunter, Herter, Capella. You keep going down. You got Collins. There's just so many guys. You had Bogey on that team. There's just so many guys that they were able to go to. I say they had 8, 9 deep that they can go to, and they could get you a bucket. And most of them were wings. They had a lot of wing depth, and we just didn't have the horses, especially on the wings, to guard everyone. Once you took that bench unit out, all those wings were 6'6" to 6'8" long, and they could shoot over people. So it was a difficult matchup for us as a team. I mean, once you take Bullock out, who was our best defender, who wasn't even playing necessarily the greatest defense that series, Bergs wasn't going to necessarily shut anybody down. And then that whole second unit, you're asking Quickly to then shut somebody down? It's not happening either because of his size and his length. So that was just a matchup that was just not in our favor. Hawks got hot at the right time. They were healthy at the right time too. No one had any injuries. It was just going to be a difficult matchup. But I would go back to say that this is still Julius Randle who has to prove something, and still RJ, because look, JD just touched on it. You want to see how he does in the playoffs. He had that mental gap last season in the playoffs. He said he overcomplicated things. He needed to make it simpler. He said that during the presser. Let's see that come to fruition. He is still the face of this team. He's still that guy. The game's going to run through him on this team. So he's going to have to come back and step up and play big, especially in the playoffs. And like I said last night, it can't just be a competitive first round. He has to go past the first round to show that he's really improved and he's learned from last season. Fine, first time in the playoffs. You haven't had playoff experience. This was your first time. Okay, fine. You got the experience now. Not everyone is like the Atlanta Hawks that comes in and is ready to go and gets you to the Eastern Conference Final. That's very rare. Most of these young teams take time. Look, you have the Sacramento Kings who are close to making a playoff appearance, and they still can't get there. And you have other young teams who are just not capable of it. We could talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, trust the process, and you have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid who can't get out of the second round. Yeah. So, I give Julius Randle props for the season that he had, for turning it around and coming up big and being the guy for this team, because it was pretty 2 seasons ago. But I'll give him some leeway, saying, hey, this is your first time in the playoffs. Playoffs is different, and you're legitimately the only guy. There was no one in that starting unit that could play make and also create their own shot. Reggie's not going to put it on the floor, get you some step back three. Alfred's not that guy.
Well, we went to
RJ was a
Rose.
very good-
Give credit.
Yeah.
Rose did,
Yeah.
but we just didn't have the horses down the bench, man. We just didn't have it.
But no, for sure, and that was it. It was Rose carried us. Like
Yeah.
that was it. So you only had Rose, and then Randall also wasn't there. So, but who else is going to do that? You need more than just one guy though in the starting unit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, fair takes. JD on Thibs.
It all sounds good, but this season, expectations, and you know, and the thing is, that's sometimes, you know, the dilemma of playing in New York, playing in the big markets is once you show the fan base, you know, a good product, a competitive product, everyone's always looking for the next step, and so, you know, he had, I guess, you know, he had some, I don't want to say excuses, he had some realities last season because, as you guys mentioned, we just didn't have the depth to, you know, counter some of the injuries or, you know, just the weaknesses that we had. And then we're playing an ultra talented Hawks team. But this season we do. And so with that comes higher expectations. With that comes, you know, a bigger microscope. And when the time comes and as the season goes along, you're going to want to see some creativity when you're facing a team that's also doing the same thing, because that type of quasi-zone defense that Nate McMillan played against Randall, guess what? That's not a defense that the Hawks were playing throughout the season. That's something that he adjusted to in that series.
Yeah.
So, when fans and, you know, analysts see that, that's why they want to hold Thibs accountable to, let's see what you do. Let's see if you go Tyronn Lue and you go small ball and you win some games you're not supposed to. Let's see if you go Doc Rivers and you play Shake Milton and you get a lightning rod and you win a game. Like these type of moves, I get it. The rotation is set, and you, in a perfect world, you want it to be that. You want to get to the playoffs. You want to play the same 9-10 man rotation. But the realities of the NBA playoffs, when a team is game planning for you for a 7-game series, you have to make some adjustments. You're going to have to make some changes. You might have to take a risk or two. And I think part of some of the fans that hold them accountable, they're probably hard on Thibs because of the whole Peyton thing. Me personally, I just think that when you see Thibs, you know, the fans wanted him to make that change all last year. And because he didn't, he kind of gets, you know, put into that space of he doesn't make adjustments, because how did he not see Elfrid Payton couldn't be a starter? Why did he not bench him? So it's one of those unfortunate things. Thibs is a consistent coach. He believes in consistency. He believes in a set rotation. I agree with those philosophies and those principles. At the same time, you play the Hawks again this playoffs, he doesn't have those excuses, CP, and he's gonna have to. We're gonna have to show some real progress.
But you're coming in with the horses. You're coming in with better players. So, you know, I think that ultimately the players have to be the ones that are out there executing. And we went the Hawks model, so to speak. Not necessarily the Hawks model, but we brought in more shot creators. They said it during the press conference. We wanted more shot creators. We wanted more playmakers. And so they have it. So now we got to shoot the fair one with the Hawks again, wipe the floor with them, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? I know, but the thing is, I definitely agree with you. Obviously, in the playoffs, in a 7-game series, you have to make adjustments. I think there also is a certain point within a series where, you know, you've seen everybody's seen each other's hands, and at the end of the day, your horses got to go out there and get the job done. You know, yes, Thibs is stubborn, but you know, for the 11th most winningest coach in the league, it's kind of hard. I can't see him, you know, taking those type of gambles or risks that you alluded to, because when you're stuck in your ways, you're stuck in your ways.
Yeah, so his ways are good. His ways are very productive, and they're gonna give him wins. He's gonna produce well during the season. It's just, you know, in those kind of situations, you want to see, you know, a little bit of flexibility and see and sometimes you don't have to, you know, like sometimes you have a matchup that's just so favorable to you that you don't even need to make, you know, drastic adjustments or drastic rotational changes or substitution patterns. But this league is going into a lot of parity. You know, we went over some of the standings predictions, and after the top 3 teams, you kind of don't even know where it's going to go. So,
Yeah.
he's gonna end up. The moment always finds you, and he'll have an opportunity to showcase his ability to coach in the playoffs this season.
No
And
question.
like,
Go ahead, Al.
I agree with you, JD. Like in the fact that Thibs has to be creative. That's why, like, I want that. I want to see that. But when you're looking at Thibs and you're looking at his history, that's just, it doesn't scream Thibs. Maybe he's learned. I'm giving him like the benefit of the doubt. Look, we're seeing up more 3-point shot attempts. That's something that any of his teams hasn't done. None of his teams have really done before in the past. So maybe he is adapting. But he needs to, because you pointed things out. When you get into a 7-game series, you can't do the same thing, because then you just have a game plan for like, oh, if he's just going to run this, well, I know what he's doing for seven games. But it's just, this is why I'm kind of like hesitant where I say, like, when you guys say, or anyone says, like, let's see Obi and Randall on the floor. I would like to see that. Do I think our head coach and Tom Thibodeau is going to break that much from character and go do that? It's kind of hard to see, but he should do it, because teams do play small ball. If you want to expose like a small, like a non-mobile center, go small and just run up and down the court. That makes a lot of sense. That's what, as CP said, Ty Lue did against the Utah Jazz with the Clippers. Go small, because you get that floor space, and you get that creativity, and then it forces them to have to bend to you, and they're not prepared for that. They're not ready to see that, and that's where you can start finding some holes and then really exploiting them. But once again, like Thibs last season hasn't had the guys to do that. Now he has the guys to do that. So this is where I could say, hey, there's no excuse. You have, like, we legit have 15 guys that you can put in there, even down to the rookies. They have something. Okay, if guys have to miss time during the regular season, you can get creative. You can now get creative, because you legit have 15 deep. You didn't have 15 deep.
Yeah.
Even though we had 10 guys that he was going to, and that's more than a bench that he's used to. He's usually known for using 8, max 9 guys. Like, he went 10 last season. That's big for Thibs. That's a change for him. So I think he is slowly adapting. I don't expect too much change out of Thibs, but this is the time now where he has the guys that he should be a little bit more flexible.
And if you're looking for a slight little crease of, okay, like you said, Alex, he's slowly adapting. If we want to look at some signs that maybe, just maybe, Tom Thibodeau has a pulse in being able to adapt, is I think some of these threes, right? Like, he's coming into the season saying we want to shoot more threes, early on in the first 2 preseason games, I mean, this team shot 50-something threes. Tom Thibodeau has to
24, 52, and
right,
11, 37 in the Pacers series. Yeah,
you have to be okay with being able to play that brand of basketball. If the Knicks are, in fact, going to shoot that many threes, not 50, but they're going to be in the 37 to 40 range, as Rose mentioned that they're shooting for. This is new territory for Thibs as well. He's never played that type of basketball. So that is a promising sign for me. And I think that's also why he's pushing like a Obi, some of these young players, to play defense in the event that you are faced in that tough playoff spot, and you have to put Obi at center to take advantage of a matchup. The coach has to feel confident that you're going to play defenses. In the end, in order for him to make any adjustments, he needs to have confidence with the 5 players out on the court that he's still going to be able to run his defensive system. If Thibodeau can't run his defensive system, you can forget about it.
Yeah, true story, man. Absolutely true. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Sunday Night Pod, CPJD, Alex Ratarza, Chattercast in the building. We are climbing up to 1,000 strong. Salute to everybody watching on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you guys are watching from. Always appreciate the support. JD, you mentioned shooting, so this is a good segue. Let's take a mailbag question, and this mailbag question is going to come from my guy Will from LI, who just called in, but he dropped a super chat for the mailbag question, so we're going to go back to him. He says, who do you think is the most reliable shooter? Like, who do you think should take the last shot?
Well, we know CP's answer.
Actually,
Bergsenbag.
Actually,
So wait, can you repeat the question?
Who do you think is the most reliable shooter? So who would you want taking the last shot?
because reliable shooter and last shot is different.
Right.
To me.
That is
two different
different.
things.
Right. That is different. That is different because one is leaning on clutch, and that doesn't have to be the best, the most reliable shooter. But let's go with the most reliable shooter for right now. The most reliable shooter on the team. I'm going with Fournier. I'm going with Fournier. You know I'm a Burks guy, but he's streaky. I'm going with Fournier. Damn near 40% from three of his career. Shot 46% from three with Boston. You can count on him. 70th percentile in effective field goal percentage. If you get him a good shot, I think I'm going with Fournier. Fournier. Solid from the corners as well. Always been solid from the corners.
Is this just shooting overall, or is it like 3-point shooting? Like, what are we talking here?
I mean, when I think about that question, I think about 3-point shooting. I think about 3-point shooting.
Right.
Okay.
That's just me. I mean, you can structure your response any way you'd like.
Wow.
I'm seeing some Kembas in the chat. It's Kemba easily. Mel Best of 9 says Kemba easily. Well, let's take a poll. Let's take a poll, shall we? While you guys deliberate.
I mean, all right. So since you said poll, can we agree on who are the candidates for this poll?
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah.
So you got Fournier, the chat saying Kemba, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you putting Burks in that conversation? Are you putting? You have to put
would.
Rose in that conversation.
Yeah, you got to put Rose in that conversation. I only got 4 choices in the chat. I only got 4
Those
choices.
are the 4. Those are the 4. I think. But RJ shoot that 3 ball well. I don't know, man.
I'm actually leaning towards RJ. We're gonna go 3. That's why I'm kind of buying. I'm not kind of buying. I'm buying that 3-point shot, staying consistent. So RJ may.
I'm gonna say this. If we're going by just the skill, like just the skill of shooting, I think Fournier is probably your answer. But if we're going by like reliable, if we're counting pressure situations, fourth quarter in a big spot, like we're putting everything, I might have to go Rose, man. Just because Rose came, and I'm, as a Knick, Rose came through in the playoffs. Rose was our best 3-point shooter on the road.
Very efficient.
Very efficient, and you saw even in preseason he had some buzzer beater shots and stuff like that. I just think, last shot also, the question's also last shot.
Right.
Rose.
See,
Rose
last shot is different. See, like you said in the beginning, the question, it's 2 different questions. If I'm going most reliable shooter, I'm going Fournier. If I'm taking the last shot, I'm going with Rose first. I'm with you. I'm going with the MVP, the one who's played in the biggest games at the NBA level. I'm going with Rose first, but the most reliable shooter to me, I'm going with Fournier as the most reliable shooter.
I mean, last year Rose shot 44% from 3 on the road,
very efficient.
31% at home. So like very, very efficient. And early on in preseason, he's showing no signs of some of that stuff going away. So
Raphael Burgess in the chat says no. No Julius. No sir. No Julius right now. Hey,
there are moments that were head scratching.
No sir. No sir. No. Not at the moment. That's all I'll say. Not at the moment. Last shot. No. I'm going with Derrick Rose. Kemba second. I'll even go Burks. Unless they're setting Julius up. Which I think they should look to do more often in the clutch. Get him some easier shots. Get him some high percentage shots.
A lot of questions are going to be tough to answer with this roster, just because there's so many options for a lot of.
Are we going to do the closers episode again? The closers episode was a hit, man.
Nope. Stop. Getting out of this.
The closers, the closing lineup episode was a hit, man. But Al, you go back in the comments of that episode, man. You got some love. Some people showed you some love, man. There were some people who weren't too high on RJ being in that closing lineup. So you did get some love, man. Check out the comments.
I just saw the poll, and the polls just kept telling me one after the other. Not feeling Alex. So I'm gonna take the poll. I appreciate it. But I think if we're getting back on the shooting, I have to go with UCP. If I'm talking last shot, it'd definitely be Rose first because I just
Yeah.
remember the Memphis game specifically from Rose last season where he came up big. I would go Kemba Walker because cardiac Kemba. It's just his nickname alone, so you got to go put him second,
Mm-hmm.
and then got to go with Burks because Burks is another guy that can get hot.
True.
He's done it too, like wait in the fourth, and he can get you some clutch points. But shooting, I agree with you on Evan Fournier, but part of me wants to say RJ because I'm buying that shot, man. I think year
Interesting.
two RJ is really gonna. It's really like I'm really being sold on it. I know there were times last season that RJ would just clank it, and he was really effective from the corner. But looking at his mechanics now, like dribbling into the shots, that's a big step, man. That is a very big step. And when you see Kemba like in preseason just fighting him out on the wing and he's just knocking it down with confidence, just quick, just like not even no hesitation, quick.
That's fair.
I'm buying RJ's shot, so I would put him like up there with Evan Fournier as a guy for especially for this season that I'm going to put my faith in.
So far, the early returns in the chat are going D Rose at 39%. So I posed a question as who's the most reliable shooter. But again, I think people may be, conflating the two questions and going with the last shot. So to me, it's a little bit different. Fournier still came in second. He's getting some love. He's closing the gap. He's at 31% now. So Fournier's closing the gap. We got Kemba at 23% and Julius at 9%. Ooh, the chat.
Ari's going haywire right now.
Oh, I know.
How come he has 3 experts and no one said IQ? I like IQ. I'll let IQ take the last shot.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. I don't know if he's the most consistent shooter, but
yeah,
I'd let him definitely take the last shot.
Of course.
I think consistency. There were games last season, and it was known, like in his draft profile coming in, that he was a very inconsistent shooter coming into the league, and it showed last season. There were times where he'd go 7 for 10 from 3, and then there were nights where he'd go 0 and 8, and it's just you don't know what you're gonna get. You didn't know what you were gonna get on a nightly basis with IQ. So it's kind of hard to say consistent. Where I need to at least know you can make one shot. Like sure, it's fine to have a game where you go 0, but there were times where IQ would go 0, 1, miss, and then he would explode again. And he also had the rookie wall last season, so it's kind of hard for me to put him up there in consistency. Where I saw RJ at least maintain 41% of his shot, 41% shooting from 3, and for the most part, he was always hitting at least 2, maybe 3 threes in a game last season. So that's why I'm going to put RJ over like IQ as like a consistent shooter.
So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Interesting question, great question, Will. And if you guys want to participate in the mailbag questions, you can always do so on the Sunday pods, man. Hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Instagram, and drop your question when we throw it out there. A couple other topics around the league, fellas. A couple other hot topics. Steve Nash today said that Kyrie Irving, that the Nets are basically preparing for no Kyrie at home games because he has not gotten the jab. I will not say the V word because YouTube is very sensitive with that. So we'll just call it the jab. Kyrie Irving hasn't gotten it. We know that the Nets practice facility has been classified as a private facility. So he's able to practice with them, but he won't be able to play at home games and he won't be able to play at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. So very interesting, man. JD, how do you feel about that? Will Kyrie tank the Nets season? I'm here for the chaos, man. I'm here for all of it. I'm here for the drama and the chaos when it comes to the Nets, man. What do you think about it?
Man, I told you, like, could you imagine? They don't have a KnicksFanTV.
Yeah.
So nobody's breaking that down.
No.
And that's probably why they went to the other side. I think Kyrie looked at some of the things that he does, and he's like, yo, I can't be a Knick. If I'm a Knick, man, you imagine like this story would be crazy. But I wonder, will he tank the Nets? I mean, we still have some time left, but it sounds like and if Kyrie is a guy that he's very strong in his beliefs, and to each his own, respect everyone's, political, perspectives and affiliations and stuff like that. But in terms of on the basketball court, I wonder if the Knicks benefit from all this. Can the Knicks benefit from that situation? Because now you're talking about 40 plus games. I think California is going to join that mandate. So, when that means when they play, the Golden State Warriors, you're talking about the Lakers, you're talking about the Kings. That's 3 teams in the state of California. Those are games that he could potentially miss as well. What does that do for the organization? What does that do from the win-loss record? It's going to be very interesting. And for my prediction of 50 wins, hey, listen, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
I'm honestly not mad at it from a basketball standpoint because, I'm trying to get as high as a seed as possible. However, this kills his trade value, right? Like who wants to get that type of, drama into their organization? Like who would want to deal with that? So it kills his trade value, even I guess if the Nets wanted to make a move. I think the Nets are stuck. What do you do? And if he's gonna miss games, they still have enough to win. They still have enough to win these games, but does that knock him down a seed or two? I think this playoffs is going to be very important on seeding, because when you talk about the Knicks, as this relates to the Knicks, you don't want the Nets to be a 4 or 5 seed, and then you're the Knicks, you're a 4 or 5 seed, and now you're playing the Nets in the first round of the playoffs. So I think this is very important for Knicks fans to watch as you see some of these things develop, because maybe not today, but later on in the season, it could come back to affect us either positively or negatively.
True story, man. I think, look, they're gonna be, they're a deep team. They're gonna be ferocious, even with KD and Harden, and then they're gonna be nice. They had a good offseason, both in the draft and just adding veteran free agents. I wonder how it's gonna upset that chemistry, because they still never really got on the same page because they were always injured. One guy was injured, one guy coming back, and so on and so forth. So how does that impact the chemistry? And again, the seeding, how does that impact the seeding over the course of the 82-game season? It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out, man. Alex, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, according to Alex Scheifer of The Athletic, Blake Griffin and everyone in the locker room apparently is not talking about the dilemma with Kyrie right now. So I don't know, like, as a whole team, how they're feeling about the situation. Apparently it's not being discussed, but I don't truly believe that. I think they are. I think they just don't want to say anything. But look, as JD said, it benefits the Knicks if Kyrie can't play at least 41 games. And think about it, it's not even only 3, JD, it's 4. We got the Clippers too in there in that state as well. You got 4, and then when the Knicks and the Nets play, Kyrie can't play because he's still in the state of New York. So we're talking over half the games, way over half the games we're talking about he's going to miss.
Yeah.
So as of right now, that's, if you calculate just half the games, 41 games that he has to miss, that's $15.6 million out the window. That he's not earning, because it's $380,000 that he misses per game.
Man.
So he will be, he can be at practice. You saw the New York City ordinance that allowed him to be at the facility because they claim the facility to be an office. I will now start saying that every gym I attend is an office. But I think for the Nets, like, this puts the Knicks in like a good situation if Kyrie can't play to a certain degree, because Harden and like KD are still 2 of the most prolific scorers. They're still, like, as you said, CP, they're a deep team. It's going to be so hard to stop them. Their defense is going to be interesting. I mean, the addition of Patty Mills, you still have Joe Harris on the team. There's a lot of guys that you got on that team that still gotta give tip your hat to, and just like know that they're going to get theirs. So they're not going to be easy. I still think even if you don't have Kyrie, we saw what James Harden and KD look like on this team, just them 2 alone last season, especially when Kyrie wasn't playing with them. And they're still a dynamic team. They can still easily be a top 2, 3 team in the Eastern Conference. So it just helps because you can potentially steal a game. We were very close last season in some of those games against the Nets when they had either just Kyrie and Harden, or it was just KD. Like, we were still close in those games. So it'll be good for the Knicks as a matchup. But overall, like, this team is still, I still have this team like in the top, going to compete in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they're still going to be lethal, man. Like I said, I just like to see the fires raging in Brooklyn right now. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful.
Let it burn.
I mean, where it's going to definitely affect him, though, is if he is, in fact, going to miss even half of those 41s. Because CP, like, the season could start, he could still get he can still get it and play, right? At any point. So, okay. So, we'll see if he gets up there, because the season could start and things could happen, and then he can make he can make a decision, and, then he's available. But what it will do, though, it puts pressure on the franchise and the coaching staff to now have to play Kevin Durant and James Harden almost every game, because yes, you care about the playoffs, but you don't want things to get out of control either. You still want to fight for home court advantage. You still want to get up there. And so, you see teams like the Lakers who have barely played LeBron in this preseason. The Lakers are going to be a team that's going to, load manage. The Clippers are known for that. The Sixers. So a lot of organizations, they're going to treat the season. Yes, they're playing for seeding, but they also are going to rest players. If Kyrie's out, Kevin Durant and Harden need to play, and they need to play a lot of games. So that, I don't know that organization wants to be able to be cornered into a strategy that maybe they didn't have going into the season, which then could affect the locker room. It could affect some of the chemistry. So, and this is real life now. You're involved in real life and perspectives and what you believe in, and I know players, they say all the right things, but you don't know how some of the net players feel. They may be against it, they may be for it. So it's a very touchy topic, and it's going to be interesting to see how it develops throughout the season.
For sure. And in terms of trade, I don't see him getting traded, man. I don't think KD tosses him over the ship, but I think the two of them went there just to start something together. I don't see KD stabbing him in the back to try to improve the team. If they did go for that Simmons trade, I think they'd be ferocious if they did that. I think they would be ridiculous if they went after Simmons, but I don't even see that happening. So for now, it just seems like, from what Steve Nash is saying, it seems like they're just going to ride the wave and see how it all plays out, man.
Yeah, and I'm, as JD pointed out, we're talking about real life. We're talking about humans, right? Like, there's actual emotion behind this. I can only imagine it's going to get annoying at some point when you have reporters asking what's happening with Kyrie every single day. During practice, after practice. Teammates are going to be asked the question, what's happening with Kyrie? And it's going to wear on them at some point. Us being Knicks fans, we know what how the New York media asks questions, how they can be ferocious and just posing questions and just continuously berating you with the same question over and over until they get an answer because they want the truth. So I can't imagine that's going to go over too well with the Brooklyn Nets. Now, they do have small coverage, so it may not be that big, but I also don't think that this is a team where they take criticism as individuals very lightly. I think their personalities, they don't like to be offended. So I can only see how this is going to play. I can only imagine how this will play out. I don't see it ending really well unless something changes or they figure it out some way, some other.
And they have to win this year. I mean, when I looked at this
It'll be the biggest embarrassment in sports. Like I always tell Kellen.
When I looked at this experiment, I thought they had to win last year, and I'm like, okay, you didn't win. You could look at it, okay, as another Miami situation. Miami didn't win the first year; they came back the second year. Well, if you're going to look at it that way, this is the year you have to win because, these players are not, getting younger. They're getting much older. Durant next year will be 34. James Harden is going to be 33, and it's just the NBA. Like when I saw that Miami Heat team, we all thought, why watch basketball? They're going to win every year. Same thing with the Golden State Warriors, right? Like why watch basketball? They're going to win every year. And when you look back at it, these teams, these super teams, have a 4 or 5 year tenure, and at most they win like 2 championships. Right, because things happen. Teams players move. An injury happens. So that organization, they have a lot of pressure to win this year because if they don't, you don't know what's going to happen after this year.
Yeah, true.
And Jay, you also said once again, human emotions. Like what was it with the Miami Heat? Like their last season together, they didn't have fun. LeBron left. D-Wade. Didn't he go to Chicago afterwards, or was there one more year before he went to Chicago? I forget. But all of them went their separate ways. It just wasn't fun for them.
Yeah, that's why. Same with the Warriors. Same with the Warriors. Yeah,
Durant was winning. He said it wasn't fun.
Yeah, so it's a lot of pressure, man. A lot of egos, a lot of infighting. But the Knicks are flying high right now, so that's the most important thing. On the other topic, the thing that broke today, man, was not today, but this week was you had 19 players, including 18 former NBA players, involved in bilking the NBA's health and welfare benefit out of around $4 million. The players included Terrence Williams, the ringleader, used to play for the Raptors. Allen Anderson, used to play for the Nets. You had Shannon Brown, former Knicks Shannon Brown, got jammed up. Will Bynum, Ronald Glenn Big Baby Davis. We're going to get to him. Chris Douglas Roberts, a.k.a. CDR. You had Melvin Ely, Jamario Moon, Darius Miles. That's unfortunate, man. Didn't want to see D. Miles of the Knucklehead podcast in there.
Wasn't Melvin Ely a former Knick?
No, that was it wasn't Melvin Ely. We had
I'm thinking Chris Wilcox.
Chris Wilcox.
Because they were similar. Like,
Wilcox was nice for us, man. I was part of the Wilcox Hive. If you guys in the chat were part of the Wilcox Hive, man, throw it in the chat. I was definitely part of the Wilcox Hive, man. Beast at Maryland. Ruben Patterson, the Kobe stopper, got jammed up in this thing, man. Remember that? Sebastian Telfair. Unfortunate. CJ Watson got jammed up in this thing. And Tony Roten, remember Tony Roten? JD, you look like you were a Tony Roten Hive member. remember when they kept working him out on like the 10-day contracts?
Yeah.
Oh man,
we looked at all those highlights on Twitter where we saw, he has talent. He could be the future.
We were hoping. But anyway, with this fraud thing, so basically what they're alleging is that, and this is the Feds. So when the Feds are on top of this thing, it's pretty much cut and dry because they got like a 98% conviction rate when it gets to the Feds. So allegedly, these guys now went to Terrence Williams, who was orchestrating the whole thing, to file false claims. They had a couple doctors' offices out in LA involved in this thing, would send it to the NBA, bill the NBA for services that were not provided, and get money back, and in turn, kicking money back to Terrence Williams. But now these fools get bagged because half of the invoices didn't have company letterhead on them. Some of them had misspellings. They gave one example where they sent in 4 invoices for players who had a root canal on the same tooth on the same day. so and half these guys weren't even around. They said one guy sent in an invoice for crowns on like 4 teeth, and they looked it up. They're like, bro, we looked up the box score. You were in Taiwan playing basketball. So,
Greg Smith.
Oh my God, man. You can't make it up. These stupid criminals, man. Stupid criminals, man. Al, go ahead, Al. You can't make it up, bro. Can't make it up, man.
Can't make it up. Yeah, there's a potential up to 22 years what they could be facing. 20 years for conspiracy. It's federal conspiracy, so all you need is just 2 or more people just to be on a crime to do something. And they were also charged for, what was it, healthcare fraud, as well as
wire fraud.
Wire fraud. That was the other one as well. And aggravated identity theft.
Yeah, so
all
they
felonies.
They got Terrence Williams on the identity theft because they said when Chris Douglas Roberts wasn't paying his taxes, Terrence Williams impersonated someone from the insurance plan to basically say that, hey, you're getting jammed up with some false charges. So Terrence Williams is trying to shake down Chris Douglas Roberts. Oh man, it's a mess. So they got Terrence Williams on identity fraud. And ultimately, I think they said he came out with about $200,000 from the whole scheme. But unbelievable, man. Absolutely unbelievable, man.
I think it was about 200 some odd grand for each that they worth, because it's close to like 4 million in total that the false claims is totaling to. And they had unwarranted payments of $2.5 million.
Yeah.
This is insanity, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why you need to do this. Like, just use the NBA's like health and welfare benefit plan just to get more money.
It's crazy.
Especially if you're all getting another $280,000. This seems so not worth my time. Yeah, like what are you're all making millions of dollars.
Federal schemes.
For $280,000. Like, come on now.
Like, like JD, like I can't count people's pockets. I don't know what everybody's situation was. Is it just greed, or are these guys down bad where they need the income? But something's just not adding up, man. These guys were just not the sharpest tools in the drawer. For real, man.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess if you wanted to if you wanted to talk in the millionaire scale, like we joined that bracket, that list, you don't see like max players there. Like you don't see, these players that get these max $100 million. You're talking about minimum level players. A few got decent contracts throughout their career. So to me, what that could, and I always talk about, the NBA hoping that not only the NBA, but these guys have to get, good advisors. You have to make sure you have a solid entourage, and financial literacy is a big, big deal in this world.
Big time.
I always say that it's not taught enough in school.
Not at all.
Especially, in our communities, I think is very, very, critical because, these players, you go into the NBA or in life, whether it's a career, you get a big job, you get a big promotion, you're an artist, whatever the case may be. And you start to see just $1 million. I mean, to me, that's, I look at it when I hear $1 million, I'm like, why don't you give me the $1 million? I'm sure I would have been good. Not everybody thinks the same, and not everybody has the resources or the knowledge to make good decisions. And sometimes you are awarded a privilege or a gift, or you earn something, and you just don't make the best decisions on capitalizing that or multiplying that income, so that you're not in a situation where you're even thinking some of these things. You don't need to do some of this stuff. And I think sometimes, in life, you see, in music or in sports or whatever, you see there's like in football, there's like a percentage of how many players actually go broke after, 4 to 5 years. Like some of these things are real. And sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's just flat out greed and just people thinking like they're not supposed to. So I think it's a little bit of everything, but I also think financial literacy is something that's 100%. Big, and some of these players and athletes need to make sure that they get the information they need, and that they understand, like you get a lot of money, you can still be cost effective and you can still have a good life. You don't even need to do all that stuff.
It's crazy, man. And as you hit it on the head with the financial literacy aspect, it's something that's sorely needed in our schools and especially within our community. And it's something that I know for a fact that the G League Ignite, they added that component to it. The G League Ignite is where the players who want to opt out of going to college for that 1 year, probation period, you do go to G League Ignite. You do get, I forgot what the salary is. You do make a 6-figure income, but it also comes with, courses on financial literacy and just managing your money and things of that nature, which is very important because when you look at it, look at Big Baby, bro. He's 35. The average person who's out there working in corporate America, 35, you're not even at your peak of earning potential. You're still on the rise. A guy in the NBA, guys in sports, your shelf life is just a few years. And after that, you got to figure out what you're going to do. You got to invest your money wisely. You got to put it away and make sure that you incur some residual income, or go to the big three, like half of them people that got indicted went to. But, the thing is that when you play in each city, you got to pay your entertainment tax in each city. So you got to make sure you're on top of your taxes.
10.
You got to keep the entourage away, keep all the people away that's in your pockets. And then obviously you got to maintain, the ability to not fall into all the material things. You get jammed up very fast. And so it's unfortunate that these guys got jammed up in the scheme, but you just got to be better at, number one, managing your money and staying away from those things, because for the amount of money that they made, it doesn't even seem like it was worth it, man. Doesn't even seem like it was worth it. But, the internet does not forget, fellas. And JD, when the scheme was first announced, the internet read Big Baby his rights. So, just a background story. Back in 2018, Big Baby had gotten jammed up on a weed charge. They found like 129 grams on him and like $98,000 in cash. So, when that indictment and that case was first brought up, he drops a video and puts it out on the internet to defend himself and explain his case. But like I said, the internet does not forget. So let me play this Big Baby clip from back in 2018.
Big Baby, man. Don't believe all that shit on the internet. I will have my day in court. They just mad because a black man got money, man. Trying to keep a black man down, man. Hey, man, shout out Rollo, man. All those people, man, getting money, man. My shit legal, man. A lot of jump shots. A whole lot of jump shots. Popeye chicken.
Can't make it up, man. Cannot make it up. You cannot make it up. He's on the private jet eating the Popeyes, which was funny as hell. He's on the private jet. Then he's got all the cash. He's flashing the cash. I mean, JD, if you're gonna scam, that's a problem too, man. When you're out here scamming, people don't know how to lay low. You got people out here scamming on all types of things, and then they going out and being flashy with it, man. The feds probably looked at this video and said, bro, you were a role player your entire career. You're on a private jet, flashing a bunch of cash. That's a red flag, man. But the internet dug that one up.
I think he was thinking, all right, don't worry about the money. Forget, they're not gonna notice the private jet. They're not gonna notice, the suitcase of money in the ring. They're gonna notice the Popeye's chicken. So by me putting the Popeye's chicken, I'm gonna scan them. They're not gonna figure it out.
Oh man, feds looked at that and said, something ain't right here. This guy's scamming. We got to see what this guy's into.
No one in their right mind should be ever flashing stacks, okay?
Bro.
Whether it's on your Facebook page, making videos for anybody, it's never a good idea.
Yeah.
Just never a good idea.
Quickest way to get jammed up, man. It's quickest way to get jammed up. Either investigate it or get robbed. Gotta be careful. You gotta move smarter, man. That's just the bottom line. Gotta move smarter. So anyway, that was it from around the league. Good topics. Great show tonight. Let's get to the closer, J Boogie, to wrap up the show, and then we'll see you guys Wednesday, man. Knicks versus Pistons preseason at the Garden. J Boogie, what's good? Yep.
To this. 3 capital C's. I gotta switch it up. Pay homage to the woman inside our, you know what I'm saying, our chat. That's the madam, Cynthia.
Yep.
Much love and appreciation from you. That's the madam.
Mm-hmm.
I know Ashley don't mind. Ashley's the lady. Shout out to the squad, the GM, young Lloyd Banks. Shout out to my man, Alex Lex Luger, and the young Giselle. Everybody else that's following. Keep following. You know we're going to lay the jewels all the way down. Shout out to my man, Super Dave. Shout out to the great, the legendary, Mr. Chuck D himself. Start putting the MR in front of his name, Mr. Chuck D himself.
That's a fact.
Yeah, 50 just dropped another episode of the BMF. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, I got to watch
This is the KMF. This is Nick family mafia right here. This is what we got going on. KMF, the Nick Mafia family. That's what we are. Man, I just want to tell y'all people, man, if you ever been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Don't you let nothing stand in your way. That's my anthem. The song is called Ain't No Stopping Us Now. That's what's happening right now. You know what I'm saying? You got to feel good and feel the vibe of what's going on this season. You got to catch the ride. You got to catch the motivation from it coming from last season onto this season right here. I'm all the way out the window. Y'all can go ahead and predict all numbers, how many games we going to win. I told you, I want third seed. See, when you have expectations, you look for the better. Them guys is not coming in this season talking about, yo, let's win 40 games. Let's win one series. Them guys is coming in there talking about championship. That's how I feel. We need to start talking about championship. Start talking things in existence. Start feeling great about the team. Because when the times was bad, you know what I'm saying? The times was bad. We couldn't talk about those things. When the office was bad. When the coaching staff was bad. The bad contracts, you know, all that was bad. The teams was bad, you know what I'm saying? And we was getting talked all the way out of the city through the worstest TV shows. But now you need to switch that around. Feel great about the team, man. We had a high ride last year. They said 21, we went to 41. You know what I'm saying? They ain't even thinking about the playoffs. We went to the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? I told y'all that P word, you know what I'm saying, was going to be P8. I told you the AC. And the funny thing about me saying that we was going to make it to the AC, if it would have been a real season and we was in the West, we'd have been the AC last year in the West in the West side. That's how good our team was last year, man. You got to feel good and feel appreciated. Look, when was the last time you felt this good about going into the preseason game? When was the last time how you been feeling about these topics? You know what I'm saying? You feel great every day about talking about the Knicks. That's how we ride and that's how we living, man. We on top of this thing right here, man. And I don't let nothing get in our way. Ain't no stopping us now. Everybody get ready to do what they got to do. The team is unified. This is a squad. We don't have a bunch of players just coming in there, some dumb guys like them guys that try to get them millions. Them professional dummies, man. We don't got no guys like that. We got all great locker room guys. That's why just the other day you heard the GM talking about I would have been okay with Porter Jr. coming over here because we got them leader-type guys in our locker. We certified with what we got going on, and I appreciate and love everything that we got going. This our season, man. You got to feel it. I told y'all what was going to happen last year. I'm telling you, third seed. Brooklyn don't want it, you know what I'm saying? They don't even care what seed they going to be. I know we better than Boston. I know we better than Atlanta. And you saw what we did to the Pacers. Only teams that I think, you know what I'm saying, that might give us an issue is Milwaukee and Miami. I don't even see Brooklyn because they ain't even going to have their whole team. And when I come up in the garden, make sure Kyrie ain't nowhere in the building because he ain't checked. I'm good. I'm healthy. I don't need him around me. You know, I don't care what they got going on over there on that B side. You know what I'm saying? I just love this orange and blue and what we doing. I love what we doing right here on all these podcasts. I love what y'all doing right there in them chats every day, man. This is what we live, we breathe, we think, we feel, and this is how we gonna be until, you know what I'm saying, that tip off. I see y'all Boston night, man, and keep in mind, don't look for me to call in on no bum night. No bum nights. If we supposed to win, I'm not calling in, man. I need all real games, man. Peace, 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 peace. 3 capital P's.
Let's go.
Salute. 3 capital S's. That was for Cynthia, man. God bless y'all. Y'all have a great weekend, man. Peace.
And he's out of there. 5-star call from J Boogie, a.k.a. No Bum Nights. Let's get it going. Throw a 5 in the chat for J Boogie. The preseason sermon has been laid down. Great show, man. Great way to end the show, fellas.
I need J Boogie to come with me to every job. It's like, my goodness, he's only going to get me hyped. He's going to make the future employer hype, man. Woo! Yeah.
He's the best candidate. You're not going to get someone better, Alex. From the job. Work ethic. Like, you'll get anything you want with J Boogie.
That's a fact, man. That's a fact. Great call as usual. Great show, everybody. Salute to Chuck D in the chat once again, man. Salute, Chuck. Appreciate that. Yeah, man. Everybody who tuned in, appreciate all the love. Back at it on Wednesday. Knicks versus Pistons. We'll get to see the number 1 pick, Cade Cunningham, in action, so that should be interesting as well. The fan poll has been updated, fellas. Who's the most reliable shooter on the team? Evan Fournier has edged D Rose by a count of 38% to 30. All right. So the chat went with my selection, man. Fournier. So, well, we'll see what happens, man. But great question by Will, as usual. More super chats came in. The Fletcher says he's going with the 60 piece. Playing with the lead this year is going to feel different than crawling back into it. Playing with the lead / defense, our depth / continuity. He's going with the 60 piece. Junior Karoma in the chat says he's going with Burks. The guy was so clutch in the fourth quarter for us last season. He closed some games out for us last season. Definitely missed the fourth quarter. Shout out to King Matthews. He says, no, not my boy Tony Allen. Yeah, Tony Allen was in that in federal indictment too, man. Tony Allen got jammed up, unfortunately. Yeah, just ridiculous. That you know, this is going down with these guys. But hey, live and you learn, man. Live and you learn. What else? Al, I know you didn't catch a fight last night. JD, you catch a fight last night?
Yes, sir. It was a great fight.
It was a great fight. It was a great fight, man. Yeah, it went the way I expected it to go. I knew Fury was gonna outbox him. Wilder fought valiantly, man. He got lumped up. He got lumped up bad. But you know, he fought. I thought from the 4th round on, he had no gas. Ended up catching Fury with a couple, knocked him down twice. But Fury was just too tough. He's too tough, man.
Yeah, to me, Wilder's like that NBA guy that you just say has just ridiculous talent.
Yeah.
But needs to polish the
Still
skills,
raw,
needs
still
technique
raw.
work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's like that type of guy. And then Fury is like that experienced, you know, tactician. You know, just knows what to do.
Yeah.
He doesn't really wow me, but he just knows how to, win.
He's tough, man. He's tough. Had my man's eardrum split, man. Caught him with so many shots to his ear. It's crazy, man. Wilder took a beat.
Wilder almost did. He almost pulled it off, though.
Yeah.
He knocked Fury out twice in one round.
Yeah,
I
knocked him
thought
down
that's when
twice.
he had him there. But he didn't close it. And it's funny because I've heard a lot of talk about people thinking that Wilder or Fury could beat Mike Tyson. I'm like, what? No way.
Nah.
These guys couldn't stand a chance against Mike.
It was a good fight, man. It was a good fight. Respect to Wilder. He hung in there tough, man. But damn, he got lumped up. But overall, good effort. Good effort. Now onto those Giants, man. My dudes. I never seen a team so snake bitten. I've never seen a game like this where you basically lost your entire offense. The Saquon injury just, I sunk in my chair. I couldn't believe it. Gotta figure he's out for the season again. It's either a broken ankle or a bad sprain, but the whole thing looked like he had a baseball attached to his ankle. It was so bad, the tweak. The Jones play, I didn't like that call, JD. I didn't like the bootleg, man. I can't put Jones out there in harm's way. I can't do it. We got to be able to punch that in or throw it at the very least, man. I can't sacrifice Jones having already lost Saquon. And bro, you see what he got up wobbly? That's the worst concussion I've seen, man.
Yeah. With Saquon, you actually might be surprised. There is a report that he has a low grade ankle sprain. Yeah,
really?
Considering a low grade.
Okay.
And the early prognosis is that he is most likely out next week.
Yeah.
And he's considered a fast healer. He's going to be considered week to week. But there is a decent shot that he can even be back in 2 weeks.
What? Wow. Interesting, man. Because he
yeah,
got carted off.
That's
crazy.
That is per Ian Rappaport of NFL Network.
Interesting.
And Jordan Renan of ESPN both reported.
Interesting, man.
That. So, but the thing, it's just tough because this is another one of those hurdles that Barkley has had to face as a Giant.
Yeah.
And you start to wonder, will he get a second contract with the New York Giants just because? And I think it's bad luck. Like it's
bad luck, man.
Sometimes you have injuries with players and you term them injury prone, but when you actually analyze it, it's like, yeah, he's injury prone, but it's because it's bad luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Daniel Jones, I also don't agree with it, but I'm just surprised at the Giants coaching staff's lack of just knowing. Like Daniel Jones has run a lot, but I've noticed, like, when you look at Tom Brady, you look at Aaron Rodgers, when they run and they scramble, they slide. They always slide. And if you look at Daniel Jones, he's had some fumbles because of that. He doesn't slide a lot. He goes head first into the ground.
He's going reckless, bro. He's going reckless.
Pointed that out many a times, and I'm just surprised that the coaching staff has not taught him to slide. Because if he slides in that situation, you're giving yourself up.
Yeah.
And you're leaving it in the hands of the refs. Now the players know they can't, go on top of you because they're going to call a flag. So that's why I don't agree with the call. He doesn't slide. Why would you just run another play?
It was reckless, man.
But
I thought that he got caught in the in between because he was like right there, bro. It was only like on the 2-yard line. You know what I'm saying?
He was trying
to get in there, man, but got his head cracked. And then Galladay, I expected him to get hurt at some point in this season. Not wishing that on anybody, but he's too injury prone. Lost him. But my main takeaway is that Kadarius Toney is going to be a star. And I'm saying it early. This kid is going to be a problem. A problem. Kadarius Toney is a beast, bro. Absolute beast.
And that goes to show you, too, that sometimes coaching staffs, they come up with these game plans of, we're going to ease him in. He's learning the playbook. I mean, Alex knows what I'm talking about because a lot of Jets fans feel the same way with Denzel Mims. It's like, when you have a talented player and the coaching staff says, oh, we're going to ease him in. But look at the way he's playing. You mean to tell me that Kadarius Toney just, learned the playbook this week? I mean, you could have probably played them this way from the beginning But I understand the way coaching staffs do it. They want to ease players in and stuff. But these players are talented, man.
Yeah.
It's football.
That kid is a
when you see him play like that, he did it with, and half of his production came with the backup quarterback.
Right.
So I don't want to hear these excuses about, oh, he's still learning. No, when you have a talent like that, run a package, a package design. Tell him, listen, we're gonna run these 5-6 plays for you. Learn this for this week and just play those plays. If somebody can't stop you, they can't stop you. But I'm encouraged, man. The Giants have something there with Tony.
Got something, bro.
Alex, my condolences to you. I mean, we're on the same boat. So.
What wasn't a good breakfast for Al? Al did not have a good breakfast today, man.
Look, man, I woke up, had some coffee, and then I was like, wow, why did I wake up? No.
Because I know, Alex, it must be frustrating for you. We as Giants fans, CP knows, when you guys are hearing about Zach Wilson and some people already call him a bust, and CP and I had to deal with that with Eli. His first year as a rookie, going through all that stuff, and it's just the impatience of the New York market, man.
Oh, for sure. And the thing with the Jets too, it's like when you watch Zach Wilson, like when you play the Titans, that's the quarterback that was promoted, and you see that you're gonna get that from rookie quarterbacks when they come in, they show the flashes of like, oh, this is what you can do. I'm sure you guys saw that with Eli Manning his rookie season. You're like, oh, I see why they drafted this guy, but he's a rookie. He's not gonna come in here just be all whimsical like Russell Wilson or anyone else. So that's like the far and few between. Most of the rookies come in here, struggle, it takes them some time. You need to have the proper environment. And for the Jets, look, we have rookie coaching staff. We're the youngest team in the NFL. So I'm not shocked that we're 1-4. Like the defense has just showed up. The offense is just what's killing us, man. Whether it's like week 1, it's like, all right, week 1, that's fine. Week 2, you get the 4 interceptions by Zach Wilson. You're just scratching your head and you're just like, what's going on here? Week 3 against the Broncos, no one could catch anything, but he was throwing them like precision. Titans, everything came together. This week, he's throwing things behind people. Yeah, offense was just not there. It was a rough morning, but it's the growth. But for Denzel Mims, I agree with you 100%, JD. The only thing for us is that our coaching staff is saying he just needs to learn the playbook. And for me, when you have a talent like that, when you have the guy who has the best catch radius, one of the top short hands on the team, you just figure out a way to get him out there. You're like you said, here's 5 plays.
Yeah,
learn this. When you are on the roster, go out there and go do that. Do the thing that you do best. And like he's made every catch that's been thrown to him for the limited times he's been on the field. And it's like, can we please get this guy more minutes? And the beat reporters are just saying, well, he's not going to help you win the game. It's like, I know he's not going to help you win the game. Week 1, when we had no wide receivers, you're putting in Jeff Smith, who barely made the roster. This guy's beating out our 2nd round pick of last season because special teams. Okay.
Hang in there, man. Bottom line is Knicks basketball is back on Wednesday. Great show, fellas. Alex, go ahead and sign out, bro.
CP, JD, as always fun talking Knicks with you guys. Fun podcast. Salute to Knicks Nation. Salute to the mods. Salute to all the callers. Salute to everyone that checks out everything KnicksFanTV. Guys, you know where you can find my stuff. You can find it over at KnicksFanTV.com. You can check out all the other writers too. The season is back up, so we got Remy doing the game recast for the next morning. He does an awesome job breaking down the games. Make sure to go check it out. And then if you want to listen to me more, you can go check over Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. We're part of the Fan Sign and Minute Media Network. We also got the YouTube channel. You can find that as well. And we have another podcast too under this Knicks, Jets, etc. We got Winning Picks Weekly. That podcast is also part of the Fan Sign and Minute Media Network and Bet Sided. So that one you can go check out John and our video producer Greg. They also do they do betting. They give you the weekly slate for the NFL. They're going to do some NBA stuff. As of right now, John's leading with over 50% of his bets coming true. His futures are looking pretty good, so go check that out.
Great job, man. JD.
As always, want to give a shout out to the mods for helping us deliver a great show. Everyone else in the chat, the fans, KFTV fans, Alex, CP. 10 days, man.
10 days.
Let's wait for that. I can't wait for that opening show, CP. Can't wait for opening, that pregame show. It's going to be an amazing day for KnicksFanTV. End-to-end coverage.
End-to-end.
October 20th. Make sure you guys don't miss that. Make sure that you guys, I think I just posted it, CP's the franchise, his Twitter account. If you don't, make sure you hit that follow.
That's right.
Make sure you hit my guy's Twitter. CP has his CP the franchise Twitter account, so make sure that you follow that. I'm JD Sports Talk on Twitter, JD Sports Talk NY, and on YouTube, JD Sports Talk. And let's go, man. Can't wait for the next show. Can't wait for the next preseason game.
Can't wait, man. Great show as usual, fellas. And salute to everybody in the chat once again. Make sure you guys hit that like button on your way out. Hit that thumbs up button. Break the YouTube algorithm. Let them know this is the #1 show for the fans by the fans. As JD said, the CP the Franchise Twitter account has been made. I'm leaving KnicksFanTV on Twitter. So for that, we're just going to be posting, regular content, usual content, but I'll be posting more of my personal thoughts, opinions, things of that nature on Knicks sports and everything on the CP the Franchise Twitter account. So make sure you guys go there and follow it. Remember, the show's available in audio podcast format as well. All the major podcast platforms. You can go to KnicksFanTV.com to find the show links for tonight's show. Shout out to the replay gang whenever you guys end up watching the show. And we will see you guys Wednesday night, post-game live, Knicks versus